Hello, my name is Denny Sargent, and I am the instructor of this course. I have been a university instructor for 20 plus years, and I was a teacher in other aspects in other community colleges and also abroad in Japan for another 30 years. So teaching is what I do. But I also have a wide variety of esoteric interests and have been involved in lots of different spiritual and occult organizations, aside from teaching linguistics and pedagogy and methodology, which is what I used to do in universities. I also do a lot of classes and workshops and lectures about esoteric subjects. So I'm very serious about what I do, and my research work, whether I'm researching, for example, when I got my master's degree, doing that kind of research for my master's, I also do that kind of deep research in occult and spiritual aspects of what I am deeply involved with. So that's who I am. I'm a little bit older probably than many of you, but still feel pretty young and pretty excited in what I'm doing. If you're interested in knowing more about me, I've written maybe 20, 25 books. I can't even remember. A large majority of them, as well as my blog, can be found at dennysargentauthor.com. That's one word. So you're welcome to go there and see more about me. You can also find me on Facebook under Denny Sargent. The Denny Sargent that you're looking for is in the desert. If you see a picture of me in the desert with the dunes, then that's me. And I also have an author page on Facebook, which is, again, Denny Sargent Author. So that if you want to dig on me, you certainly can. If you go online and look me up, you'll find my books. If you go to Amazon, you'll find my book page under Denny Sargent. And so anyway, that's enough of me. I want to talk about why I'm doing this and what I'm really interested in and why this class is really important to me. One of the things I have found out in my exploration of the occult and spiritual world, I got involved into paganism and witchcraft and then ceremonial magic and lots of other things from when I was 14 on. That was a long time ago. I'm just going to say, let's just say it's about 50 years that I've been involved in esoteric stuff, and have worked with a number of different people from Golden Dawn to pagan groups to the Lemon groups. I'm very open-minded. I'm an initiated tantric in 2 different sampradayas or lineages. So I'm one of those people that just likes, I like to be around lots of different people. And I'm assuming you are that kind of person too, that you may be involved in a particular group, but that you have a wide-ranging interest in lots of esoteric and spiritual things. So that's what we're here for, and we're specifically here to talk about banishing. Why is banishing so crucial, and why was it so important that I actually wrote an entire book on it? Mostly because I couldn't find a book on banishing. Because even though it seems very perfunctory, the idea of removing anything that could impinge or in some way harm what you're doing is really crucial. It's really crucial, for example, if you're a scientist, that you make sure your laboratory is completely clean and sterilized, so that when you're working with, say, viruses or other things, that there is no contamination, right? I think everybody who does magic, everybody who is involved in spiritual work needs to have that mindset that before they begin a ritual practice or a deep meditative practice, that they clear the air of any leftover energy or anything that impinges magically on what they're doing. Keep in mind that that energy flows throughout our lives, and depending on your point of view of what energy is and what spirits are and all that sort of thing, it's really good to sort of hermetically seal your space so that the magical work you do is the magical work you want to do, and it's not being influenced in any way by anything else. Now, most groups I have worked with and I have known, and that's a wide variety of different kinds of occult and spiritual groups. usually have a set way to banish. Maybe a lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram, or they use a smudge stick and they chant some things, or whatever. In Tantra, we do a particular mudra and a thing, at least the lineages that I'm in. But the bottom line is that doing the same thing over and over and over again can get stale in terms of banishing. But also, I like you to know, and I really want you to know, that there are hundreds of other ways to banish, and that gives you more options. And there are times when you're doing a specific working or a specific spiritual experiment or ritual that you may realize, oh, this is what I always do all the time, but maybe something more specific to my goals would be a better way to banish and clear things and create a magical space or container, so that I am not just ready to do the work I want to do, but also that I am clear on my technique for banishing actually fits with what I'm doing ritually. I'm hoping this makes sense. So that's enough really ramble about me, but I do want to say a couple things. One, this course has a number of different sections to it, number of different lessons, and it's really important to me, and I think it'll be important to you, that you read the PDF that goes with each lesson before you watch my video. I am going to simply assume each time I make a video that you have read the PDF, and therefore I can reference it and not spend 30 minutes instead of 10 to 15 minutes reviewing it. That way I can just simply go through and say, here are some of the things we talked about, and here are some extra comments I have on them. Reading it is pretty straightforward, but what I want to do is elucidate a little bit more on different important aspects depending on what I'm doing. So let me talk a little bit about how this is set up. The course is organized for usefulness, applicability, and success for all your magical workings. I'm not going to talk a lot about theory. I'm just going to say, look, these are things that people have done in many, many different countries. Like I said, I've traveled to many different countries. And I've done my best to sort of record what different cultures and different peoples and different spiritual practitioners, what they do to banish. And that's what I'm taking sort of, I don't know, 20 years or plus worth of me sort of gathering this obsessively compulsively, all this interesting stuff on how different people banish, and putting it all together into this course. Some of it may just be interesting to you, but some of it, and I'm really, really hoping, some of it you might say, wow, that's a neat idea, I'm going to try it. Or this is a really useful idea for what I'm working on, I'm going to try it. That is my goal. So the whole course is based in a way that is sort of magically obvious to many of you. So I'm going to start in the first video. This is just my intro, right? I'm going to start by just sort of talking about the importance, the historical magical explanations of the use of air banishing, fire banishing, water banishing, earth banishing, and spirit banishing. And that is essentially going to be the heart of the course. I've managed to sort of categorize them by those 5 elements, and I can't imagine there's anyone in this course who does not know those 5 elements, and it has some meaning in their lives and their spiritual or magical work. The next lesson is going to be about magical air banishing. The one after that will be magical fire banishing, and the one after that will be magical water banishing, and the next one will be magical earth banishing, and we'll end with spirit banishing, i.e. using pure spiritual energy to banish. So that's pretty straightforward. That's how we're going to do it. So to talk a little bit more about the different ways things are set up in this course. So you're going to have a PDF. You're going to have an intro PDF, which is going to go with this video, and a sort of a general discussion on preparing to banish magically and effectively, introductory explanations, techniques, and ideas, and preparing for banishing and for applying the appropriate magical procedures, including visualizations and preparations, and why they are key. Then in the magical air banishing, I'm going to talk about techniques and rites applying the appropriate magical banishing power um, the, um, and potency for the force and tools of air, the importance and practice, application of effective banishing for and through the magical element of air. And when we talk about air, we're talking about anything, for example, things you burn, using different tools, and so on. The next one will be a magical fire banishing, and we're not just going to talk about burning. We're going to talk about all sorts of things that connect with fire that are somehow interconnected with the idea of fire or of heat, solar power, all these sorts of things for banishing. We're going to talk about water banishing, banishing power of the potency, force, and tools of water, the importance and practical application of effective banishing for and through the magical element of water. And at the end of each of these is a chart of key spirit symbols used in banishing. So the first class with air, and then air and fire and water and earth will all have at the end a list of tools that can be used rather for this kind of magical banishing. Earth banishing will cover all kinds of aspects of using different materials of earth, but also using the earth, earth like such as Gaia, like using the actual power and intensity of the planet, and getting one's hands, into the earth, and rocks and anything having to do with earth, and how they've been used traditionally in many different cultures for banishing and getting rid of things that we just don't want before we start doing our magical and spiritual work. And spirit, the last one, spirit, is going to be a very different sort of thing, in that we're not talking about physical elemental things. We're talking about the pure force of spirit. Now, I've done a course in this wonderful university online here on the knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel. And this sort of connects with that in the sense that our spirit, our higher self, in Tantra, the Atman, or sometimes they call the inner soul, the guru, light from darkness, that the real power that we have can be expressed in many different ways and can be used to banish and get rid of negative energy, negative thoughts, maybe negative elementals, whatever in your mind you're thinking you want to get rid of. So this is a little bit of a unique one. And then at the very end, PDF 7, I have a very long and very, I think, very useful chart, or series of charts rather, of things you can use in banishing. For example, I have a whole section on all the astrological signs and how they connect with different kinds of banishing. I have a whole list of stones and crystals that are used for banishing and exactly what they do for banishing. And then I have another one of herbs and another one of plants and other materials and substances. So I have a ton of stuff. It's like a massive, if you're familiar with 777, it's like a kind of a massive banishing 777 section. So there's an awful lot here, and I think you'll find at least some of it really useful. I look forward to doing the rest of this course. It's all written now. Now I just have to record the videos. So be well, be well and focused and wild and centered. As my guru in Tantra says, the will to love is the law to live. May your spiritual work and your esoteric work accomplish exactly what you will for it to accomplish, without any impingement and without any interruptions and without any issues at all. And I think I'm going to help you with some of these ideas in this course. Take care.